How to apply for credit cards. So today I'm going to tell y'all how to apply for credit cards the right way, how to apply for credit cards and not get denied. Not get denied, but not only not get denied, but get approved consistently, get approved for higher limits, put yourself in a better position. Because I mean, anybody can say, "Oh yeah, just go to the credit card website, fill out the application, boom." But if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna get denied, and then when you get denied, it's gonna make it even harder for you to get credit cards. And if you get denied today, you're probably not getting shit for the next few months. So I want to go into detail what to do, what not to do, because there's a lot of information. Some people will tell you some of it, but then there's some fringe situations that people don't even think about that happen as well. So let's get all the way to it. Enjoy the scenery. Obviously, it's always going to be luxury or futuristic. I want you to be thinking positive, thinking about the future, thinking about living a luxury lifestyle. Anyway, one of the first things you want to do, one of the first things you want to do before you even get to the I'm filling out an application stage is just make sure your personal info is in order. Make sure you got you know what you're gonna put on the application, but also like you didn't just move 2 weeks ago and start getting mail in a new place. Because one of the things that when you're applying for credit, one of the things that they're going to do is to verify your identity, verify you are who you say you are, and sometimes that's harder for them to do. Sometimes you'll apply and they'll say, "Hey, we need more documents. Can you send us your ID? Can you send us this or that?" Because they're just having trouble verifying you. And this is not always the biggest deal, but there are some situations where you will get denied because they just couldn't fucking find you. So you want to make sure that's all in order. Like you didn't just move, just start getting mail somewhere else. So now there's multiple addresses and they're trying to track you. Like have your personal info on your credit reports set. You can remove personal info you don't want on your credit reports. I don't want to say easily, but it's pretty fucking easy. So that's important. Another thing you want to make sure is you're not opted out. So for the people that are a little more credit savvy, sometimes you freeze your credit reports or you freeze your secondary bureaus, your secondary credit bureaus. So like I don't know, opt out pre screen. I don't know what it's called, like LexisNexis, Innovis, CoreLogic, some of those. But some of those, if you freeze them or if you opt out, then you won't get like pre approval orders because it's kind of saying like you're opting out of like getting offered shit like, hey, leave me alone, basically is what you're saying. So sometimes you have that turned on or turned off, however you want to look at it. So you want to make sure you're opted into everything, because when you opt in, that's when you start getting more things. Like when you opt in, you start getting more pre-approvals, like those junk mail pre-approvals. They're kind of annoying, but they're kind of a good sign. Like why is they don't accept any of them. Like if you get that junk mail and it's like, hey, we're pre-approving you up to $1,000, up to $500, up to $2,000. That's a good sign. But don't accept those. Those are usually shitty cards. But you do want to see that you are getting offers like that, because that means maybe I could get a credit card. Now don't see that and immediately go, oh, bet I can get $2,000. Oh, I'm taking that. Don't do that. That'll get you jammed up, because you need to do a little bit of research and know what card you're applying for, know what those cards offer, know what they require of you, because a lot of people just see the amount. And the limit is great, right? This video is about how to get credit cards with higher limits, but you don't want to get the ones that are going to screw you over in the long run. So another thing you want to make sure is you don't have any recent inquiries, like you haven't just tried to get credit. Like if you just got a credit card a month ago or 2 weeks ago, or just applied for a mortgage or just got a car loan or anything that hard pulls your credit. You don't want to make sure that you've done that recently, because that's going to affect your ability to get a credit card. Sometimes you just get flat out denied, and sometimes you'll get approved at a lower limit than what you could get. And again, this isn't about just getting approvals. This isn't just, hey, let's get 50 credit cards just to get 50 credit cards. If you got 50 credit cards and they all have $100 on them, that's not really, I mean, it's something, but it's not really a ton. I guess 50 is a high number. Let's say you got 10 credit cards with $100 on them each. This isn't going to happen. But you know what I mean? You would have $1,000. That's nothing. Whereas you can get $1,000 on one card. You can get three cards that all have 5,000 each, and you have more. So it's more about getting better cards, cards that may have better benefits or whatever the situation is, or that have high limits, or that do limit increases every 3 months instead of every six, stuff like that. But let's get more to what you actually do. When you're actually ready, you're actually in order. Like, all right, it's probably about time for me to get credit cards. Cool. One of the first things you want to do is look for pre-approval websites. So look for credit card pre-approvals, not the junk mail shit that you get sent for free. look for the shit, because the best shit is they might offer it to you, but like you might have to go in the bank and they'll say, hey, you're pre-approved for this. But like Chase isn't just sending random strangers mail. You're pre-approved. Like if you don't have a relationship with them, right? And you should have a relationship with some banks, financial institutions, because they'll probably tell you. But something you can do if you don't is literally just Google pre-approved credit cards. Like you can literally, like, it's not even rocket science. Just go on Google pre-approved credit cards, and then you have, here's Capital One, right? Capital One isn't always terrible. It depends on your situation, but you can very easily go to their site, see if you're pre-approved, right? Bank of America doesn't do typical pre-approvals. Chase, as you can see, Chase is already purple. I already clicked it because you know the vibes. There's even more. There's Navy Federal down here. There's Citibank down here. Wells Fargo down here. Always check with these pre-approvals. They're not 100%. Most of the time, they're not 100%. Well, they're never 100%. Nothing in the credit world is 100%. If anybody tells you it is, they're lying or it's probably fraud. But the pre-approvals are usually accurate. Sometimes they're a little off, right? Sometimes you won't get like I've not been pre-approved for a card before, then apply. Like I did the pre-approval and they're like, sorry, we can't pre-approve you. And then literally 10 minutes later, applied for the card and got it and got the card for a high limit because I knew that I should be approved for it, but I wanted to double check. And then I just took the risk because I was like, I already have a relationship with this institution. I already talked to them. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it even though they didn't pre-approve me. So you do want to make sure you are pre-approved unless you know the rules and know the situation. Like I'm a bit of an expert in the sense that I know a lot about finance. I know a lot about credit. I've done a lot of research. And I always double and triple check shit beforehand. So if I pull the trigger on an application, I'm not worried. Even if I get denied, I'm not worried because I know how to get the inquiries removed if I get denied. But you always want to double check check your pre-approval. See, hey, what could I possibly get? And then there are some cards like the Apple card that'll show you if you're pre-approved and your limit. If you go to Synchrony Bank and their website, they don't have the greatest reputation in the credit world, but what they will do is allow you to pre-approve and show you your limit before you even apply, before you any type of hard pull. They will soft pull your credit, tell you, yeah, you're pre-approved for this limit. And then you can decide, okay, I want to apply and go from there, right? So you do definitely want to make sure you do that before you apply because a lot of people go into credit card applications blind. Like just, I think I want this card, boop, and then you don't get it. And you're like, oh man. And it's like, that's just like, no, you want to be prepared. You want to pull up. You want to pull up to the fight locked and loaded, armed to the teeth. Like, you know what I mean? You want to pull up and you got everything you might need. You don't want to show up and just show 2 fists and everybody else is strapped up. You're just not ready, bro. You're not ready. Another thing you want to find out before you do applications is find out who pulls where. Now, I've done a video recently, one of my most recent videos, where I literally go to the website and show you how to, like, I be giving y'all so much game, but nobody's watching the videos. But literally can see what bank pulls from which credit bureau. So generally speaking, when you apply for credit, the bank or financial institution credit union is going to hard pull your credit. They don't hard pull it from all 3 major credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. Now some do. Capital One is going to pull all 3. So I would stay away from Capital One, but if you don't have the greatest credit, there's some benefits to using Capital One, but one of the biggest issues is they pull all 3 every time. Every time you apply for a card with them, they're going to pull all 3, which it fucking sucks. If you get like a Venture X card, you could argue that it's worth it because that card's 10 bands minimum. But make sure, or not make sure, but like check and see, try to find out who pulls from where. Apple card is Goldman Sachs, they're going to pull TransUnion FICO 9. The same with the GM Rewards card, they pull TransUnion FICO 9. If you go to PenFed, for example, Pentagon Financial Credit Union, or Pentagon Federal, whatever, doesn't matter. PenFed, they're going to pull Equifax, right? That's just what it is. Chase typically pulls Experian. I've seen Chase pull Experian and TransUnion, like, the first time, and then just go back to pulling Experian. So look for who pulls who, because most banks, credit cards, whatever you want to say, they're going to pull 1, maybe 2, and this is going to help you because this will allow you to know, like, okay, I only got my TransUnion pulled. I can go to another bank and get my Equifax pulled. Then I can go to another bank and get my Experian pulled. And the other credit bureau doesn't know that I just got my other one pulled, right? Because these credit bureaus are 3 separate companies. They're not friends. They're not like comparing data with each other. They're just getting their data from the same places, which is why it's similar, but why a lot of the times it's fucking wrong, and why you can get negative shit off your credit, because they're not working together to make sure they're all on the same page. They're stupid. But you want to make sure that you know where your credit is going to be pulled from. And if you don't know, here's a little nugget you can try. I've never done this myself, but I've heard a lot of people say this, and it makes perfect sense. Before you apply for a credit card, just freeze all three of them. You can freeze all your credit bureaus whenever you want. It's your information. You can freeze it. You can say, hey, stop reporting my info. And you can put a freeze on, take it off easily, right? So you can freeze all three and then apply for the credit card. And once you apply, they will tell you what they pulled. Like Navy Federal pulls TransUnion. Like after you apply, whether you get approved or denied, I won't say that. If you get denied, you 100%. If you get denied, they will tell you why you got denied, and they will also tell you what credit bureau they pulled. So then you'll go, okay, I see. I tried to pull this from Citibank, and it said they pulled Equifax. It said they pulled Experian. So then you can unfreeze them and then apply when you're ready to apply. So that's just like another tidbit, another tip you can use. So now that you know where your where your credit is gonna be hard pulled. You're ready to go to the application. Cool, right? You go to any credit website, they'll ask you some personal information, right? I'm not gonna go through the whole process because I'm not gonna put my information in on here. I just want to show y'all a visual example. If you're not familiar, right? Like you can click see if I'm pre-approved. This is just Capital One. This shit literally doesn't matter. You can put whatever you want there. It doesn't fucking matter. If you approved for multiple things, they'll probably just prioritize one or the other. Your name, I guess I'm not going to get past this because I got to put my name in. But basically, they'll ask some info like your name, your date of birth, your social, stuff like that. They'll ask things like your income. Now, never put that you make less than 50 grand a year on a credit card application. Just don't do it, right? Just don't. Because a lot of y'all don't understand how credit card applications work, which is why I'm making this video. But when they ask for your income, a lot of times it is gross income, and a lot of times it is household income. The majority of the time. Meaning, if you split bills with anyone else, or just sometimes if you just live with people, if you split bills with them, hey, y'all both pay the rent, you can use their income as a part of your credit application. Like I promise you, I'm not making this shit up. And the thing is, underwriters, well, maybe not underwriters, but the people who work at the bank that are trying to sell you these credit cards, they want to get you approved. Like I've been on the phone with a credit card company, and they've been like, do you have any untaxed income? Because then we can multiply it by this. And like, oh, well, are you sure? Like they're gonna try to boost you and help you get higher and higher. They want you to get approved. Now, don't flat out fucking lie. Have an explanation for the amount of money. If you look at it and say, oh man, well, I take home about, $500 every 2 weeks, $500 times 26, like I don't, because 26 is it's 52 weeks in a year. So like, damn, that's all the money I make. And it's like, no, bro, you got to use your gross income. And let's say you work a job, you make $20 an hour, and that's your only job, right? That's your only source of income. Then all right, let's take that $20 an hour times 40 hours a week. 40 hours is a regular work week, right? And then multiply that by 52 weeks in a year. So that is an example. Like I said, have an explanation. As long as you're not putting something insane, you're not saying I make $200K. They're not gonna want to verify. That's way too fucking high. Even if you make $200,000, you shouldn't put that you make $200,000 because it's a lot of fucking money, and a lot of people don't make that, so they're gonna want a lot of documentation a lot of the times. But if you say you make 70,000, 80,000, something like that, they're not that's a decent amount of money, and they're not gonna ask for verification because it's not like a ton of money. It's not gonna flag it as like, damn, he making hella money. Another thing is like, let's say you have negatives on your credit report. Let's say you owe $5,000 in student loans. You have $2,000 collection or debt. It looks away when you like, hey, if you make $100K a year, why didn't you pay this $2,000 debt, right? Now, if you're disputing it, sure. Like, you can say that, and now I'm disputing it. Like, I'm trying to get it removed. It shouldn't be on my credit in the first place. That's one thing. But you want to make sure that you never put low income on a credit card application. Just don't do it. And a lot of times you won't be denied because your income is too low, but you can be because there's certain banks and certain credit cards that care about DTI, your debt to income ratio. They want you to make a certain amount more than what your debt obligations are, like how much you owe in loans, collections, credit cards. Like if you don't make way more than what you owe and like your utilization isn't low, then they might deny you for that. But so you just never want. There's no reason to ever put less than 50K on a credit card application. You don't make your income is not less than $50,000. Even if you think it is, I guarantee it's because if you make less than that much money, you probably live with somebody else who's helping you pay your bills, and that person's income is applicable to your application. So keep that in mind. I would say put 70 grand. If you don't know how much you make, put around 70 grand on there. If you're willing to do the math, if you're willing to have the logic to explain it, then you can put more than that. But just be sure that you do that. Other than that, on the application, like I said, make sure your personal information is good, your income's good. Your rent obligations. They'll usually ask, like, do you rent or do you mortgage? How much is your rent? Don't put, and again, this is in the same vein, right? It's like debt to income. It's in the same vein. Like, credit card companies are never going to ask to see your lease. Let me just say that again. There is no credit card that I've ever fucking heard of that is going to ask, hey, can we see a copy of your lease, your rental agreement, to see how much money you pay in rent every month? So they're never going to verify that. They might verify like your income if you put high income. All right, you got some pay stubs, you got anything, they're cool. But they're not going to ask you how much your lease is. So if that's the case, why would you ever put that I pay $1,000, $10,000 in rent every month? Why would you $2,000, whatever your rent is? Just don't put it on there. Just don't. And if they, let's say you go in the branch and ask, how much do you pay in rent? And you just say, $100. I'm like, damn, you only pay $100? And you can just say, well, I live with family or I live with roommates and they pay the rent. I put up like $100 to pay groceries or something. And I take care of the house. I do, or I do whatever I do, but I don't pay rent directly. I don't pay rent. I only pay $100 rent. And they can't question it whatsoever. It's just another thing that'll help, like, your debt to income, because they're seeing how much you pay every month, and if you're saying I pay $2,000 in rent every month, plus you got this and that, and it's like, you know what I mean? And that kind of stuff will either get you denied it or it'll hurt the limit that you're approved for. Anyway, another rule with applying for credit cards, you only want to apply for credit every 90 days, or every 91 days. So if you just got a credit card a month ago or 2 months ago, the odds of you getting another one are lower. Or you'll be able to get it, but you'll get it at a lower limit. Like you'll only be able to get shitty cards or decent cards with lower limits. But you're not gonna get a Chase card today, then a Chase card in a month, then a Chase card in a month. You're gonna have to wait 3 months in between those applications. So keep that in mind. When you apply for credit, make sure you have your shit lined up, you're ready to go. Today's the day I'm applying, and then after this, I gotta wait 91 days. That's unless I get denied for every card and wipe all those inquiries off, if I get approved, I gotta wait 91 days before I can get any other credit card. Just remember that. Keep that in mind, because some people apply for a credit card today, apply for another one tomorrow or next week, another one next month, and you wonder why you keep getting denied. If you have a 750 credit score and you just got a credit card last week and apply for another one 3 weeks later, you're probably gonna get denied. They don't care about your score. You just got credit. They can see that you just got a new card, and they're like, we're gonna chill on you right now. Like, hold up on that. So keep that in mind. Another thing is when you do get credit cards, and when you get approved, and when you have a credit card, every credit every credit card you can be eligible for a limit increase. 9 times out of 10, you gotta wait 6 months unless they decide to automatically increase your limit without you asking for it. But be careful with limit increases. Sometimes when you ask for a limit increase, they'll do a hard pull. So verify that, because it's different with every bank, every credit card. Make sure you're not going to get a hard pull for that. And then the last thing I'll say about how to apply for credit cards is, if you want to maximize your credit limits and like getting the most funding, the most money possible from these credit cards, I would say do more than one at a time. On the lowest end, you could apply for 2 credit cards at a time, right? So find 2 cards that pull TransUnion. Let's say Navy Federal and Apple. Cool. Have those lined up already. Have 2 that pull Equifax. Let's say, I don't know, PenFed, maybe Citibank. Citibank varies. 2 that pull Experian, maybe Amex and Chase, right? Chase and Amex both have pre-approval websites too. So you can even freeze the other 2. Like while you're doing your TransUnion, you can freeze your Equifax and Experian, and then have 2 applications open, 2 credit card applications. You have one on your phone, one on the computer, 2 tabs open on your computer. Press submit on both at the same time, You can do something like that. Some people say don't do it that way. Some people say do it that way. I know for a fact that this method can work. You can do 3 applications at once, click, 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 and then let's say you get approved for 2 or 3 of them. Cool, great. Now you freeze your TransUnion, unlock your fucking Equifax. You do 2 or 3 there. So you can do 2, 2, 2. You get 6 credit cards at once. And if your credit scores are pretty good, your credit profile is good. Let's say you get 1,000. Let's say you get 1,000 on each card. You got 6,000 instead of applying for one card, getting 1,000. So that's just another nugget to get higher limits. But anyway, that is how to apply for credit cards. I know it's a lot of information. I know it's a long video, but it's important information because a lot of people don't know. Some people, like I've seen people get excited, like, yo, I got a $1,000 credit card. I got a $5,000 credit card. Oh shit, it's great. And it's like, that's dope. But if you knew the game, you could have got 3 or 4 $5,000 credit cards at the same time. Because if one bank is willing to give you a $5,000 credit card, guess what? Another bank is willing to give you a $5,000 credit card. Or you can wait 3 months, go back to that same bank if you didn't fuck the credit card off. Go back to that same bank that gave you 5 bands, and they're going to at least give you 5 more because they just gave you 5 and you didn't burn it. You were responsible with it. So great. You waited 3 months, and now you got in 3 months you got 10,000. 5 today, 3 months later, 5 more. But a lot of people get $1,000, 5,000, 10,000, and they get greedy and just run off and blow the money. And it's like, dog, if you're able to get one $10,000 credit card, you could easily get $100,000. But people don't know that. That's why I make videos like this, because people don't understand that, like, if one bank is willing to give you 10 bands, I guarantee you can get 100 bands in credit. I guarantee it. You just don't know how to do it. And you don't got somebody like me to teach you. I mean, you do now, but y'all got to watch the content and tap in. So anyway, y'all have fun. Y'all stay safe. Enjoy the view. Go get rich. Just stay focused. Like and subscribe. I'm out.